How's it going? Today we're working on a 2019 f250 4x4. We're going to be doing hub lockers and the front U-joints. The tools you will need are a set of impact sockets, 12 to 24, and then you will need a ball joint press. This one is an Icon from Harbor Freight. You're going to need to pull your caliper off, which I've already done here, and remove the rotor. And I've got it hanging here. You always want to hang them with a caliper hanger. That way they're not just dangling on the actual hose itself. I believe this was a T20 or a T25 Torx. Remove the 3 Torx bolts, and then you're going to work this locker. Just kind of got to grab it, just kind of get it to wiggle it out there. We're going to be putting new lockers in, so that one's trash. Now inside here is a snap ring. And the snap ring is quite beefy. It's a pretty good size. So you're going to need a pair of snap ring pliers that are heavy duty. And Ford, they make a set just for these. I went ahead and just got a heavy duty set, and they work just fine. You're going to want to position yourself to where you can line up your snap ring pliers to the holes on the snap ring, which is kind of tricky. It'll help if you get a light and look down in there. But once you get them lined up, you'll have to really crank down on the pliers to get that snap ring off of there. It may take both hands. There she is. We're going to be reusing that. So hang on to it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back behind the knuckle, and we're going to remove the 4 nuts. But I went ahead and removed the passenger side drag link because I'm going to be changing out those ends. So it helps to have that disconnected. You can, if you're doing one side, you can just disconnect that side. This is getting both, so you're going to remove your ABS sensor. That's another Torx. I believe that is a T30. You'll have to wiggle it to get it out as well. This one doesn't have any metal on the end of it. Generally, when the bearings go bad, it'll collect metal shavings on the end of that ABS sensor because it's magnetic. This just has a little bit of grease on it, so that's no big deal. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull this out of there and get it out of the way. I'm going to be changing these ABS lines anyway, these sensor wires. And back behind here, there will be 4 studs and 4 nuts. And we're going to, you take a 21 millimeter socket and the impact, and we're going to remove those 4 bolts or 4 nuts. Sometimes the stud will come out with it. If it does, it's okay. You may have to move some stuff out of your way. I was dragging that back out of there so I can get to it. This one, I needed an extension because I left the drag link on there. If you were to remove that drag link, you wouldn't have that problem. That's just a 2-inch wobble extension for my 1/2-inch impact. Now I've got the extension on there. We're going to go ahead and socket off. All these are 21 millimeter. The tools you're going to need for this job, again, you're going to need an impact, impact sockets ranging from 12 to 24 millimeter, a heavy-duty set of snap ring pliers, pry bar, hammer, and a ball joint press. And once you get that loose, you're going to, I use an air hammer. This one's Astro Pneumatics. I got it off Amazon for $150. This one's called Thor. It is a good hammer. I like it. It works for me really well. It's got a deep piston set in, or deep piston in there, so it's got I guess a long stroke is what they call it. But you're going to want something that hits hard. But you're going to go around the outside of the hub assembly, being careful not to hit your studs. And you're going to just kind of work this hub and bearing off of here. Once you get it going, you may have to take a screwdriver, kind of go around the edge of it, just kind of help slide it out. I got just a little pry bar here. Sometimes those can really get stuck on there. Okay, inside here, this is the end of the axle, and there is a seal. Since this is vacuum actuated hub lockers, there's a rubber seal inside here. If you're changing the U-joint, just be very careful of this seal. You don't want to destroy it, or you'll be having to put one in it. And those are a little bit fun to try to get on there too. So there's a spot back here between the axle and the axle tube that you can get a big pry bar on. I've got a 5-footer right back in here. You're also going to want to make sure to not damage that plastic cover that goes for the axle tube. You don't want to damage it at all. But the best way I found for this is once you get a bite on on the axle. You're going to want to use your foot if you can on this pry bar. If you're sitting down, and you'll apply steady pressure, increasing pressure to get it to move, and it will eventually move. But again, you want to be careful not destroy that seal unless you're changing it out. Those seals are high dollar, so you don't want to destroy it. Now again, I'll get a bite on it and put my foot on it and just apply steady pressure. And just keep applying the pressure. And it will eventually move. You should start to see it move here pretty soon. Yeah, here she comes. And again, you don't want to damage that plastic cover. So you want to pry on the axle side of it. And then it pops out. And go ahead and take this to the bench vise. Yeah, seal looks okay. Okay, we got her secured in the vise on the back side of the U-joint on the inside there of the actual yoke itself. There's 4 retaining rings. You just want to bang those out. You can take a screwdriver and a hammer, just get on the edge, and generally they'll pop right out. No problem. And I'll show you what one of these rings looks like here. You can discard those because you're going to be getting new rings if you're getting a new U-joint in there. Now we're going to mark the yoke. I like to put a healthy dose of paint on it. That way it won't get accidentally wiped off. That way you mark your axle so it goes back on the same way it came off. Those shafts are balanced. I just mark it good enough so it's not going to get wiped off. And now we're going to take our ball joint press / ball joint, our U-joint press. This one is an Icon. Again, I got it at Harbor Freight for about $250. This one does all the big stuff. So you're going to be wanting to use that one. There's the part number from Ford. If you need to stop and pause it to get the part number. But that's what the U-joint number is. And you position the U-joint press. You're not using any attachments. This is just simply the press itself. And you're going to press one side all the way through till the U-joint touches the inside of the yoke. You're going to go all the way with it. A lot of times you might need to use an air hammer to air hammer the end of that cap off once you get it out far enough. Just want to be careful not damage the yoke at all when you do this. I had to get my air hammer, I believe. And we're going to just chisel that end off and just knock it out. And it should just come right out there. As you can see, those suckers are dry. They were completely done. Now we're going to take the assembly and we're going to flip it around. And we're going to do the same. We're going to press the other side out. And we need to get this knocked back in to where it started on the cap. Make sure everything's centered and lined up. Just bang it in until you get it started. Now we're going to reposition this. See how it's cockeyed still? I'm going to bang this till it's center. There we go. Yeah, you want it centered like that. And we're going to take the press and set it up. Going back the other way, we're going to press it all the way till the U-joint touches the inside of the yoke. Okay, we've got him lined up. Now we're going to punch it through. We're going to go all the way till the U-joint touches the yoke. Just like that. And we're going to remove this cap. And the assembly now should come apart. Yeah, that thing's toast. Now we're going to continue reposition the press on the assembly, getting that cap directly centered in there so it doesn't get hung up on the press. And once you're centered and ready to go, just grab the gun and hit it. There it is. We're going to again go through and the U-joint's going to touch the inside of the yoke. That's going to ensure that the cap gets pushed all the way out. Yeah, she's done. There was no bearings in that one at all. All right, going back with the new U-joint, you want to face your grease fitting towards the inside of the vehicle. You want it to go towards the center of the vehicle. So that'll be, I guess, the axle side. And you're just going to center that one up. You got to remove your caps. All for the, except the one that you're going to be installing. We're going to get lined up here, and then we're going to hammer this one in. And we're going to, again, take it all the way to the U-joint touches the inside of the yoke. Okay, we're all nice and centered here. So now we're going to go ahead and put our cap in gently, because you don't want to dislodge any of those needle bearings. And I flipped it around. Now I'm going to press that side in. And you're going to want to line up the slots in the caps for those keepers. So the keepers will hold those caps into place. And you're going to have a little bit of U-joint sticking out, about probably 1/8 of an inch or so. So you want to make sure that both sides are the same so you can pop your keepers in. All right, you just take a hammer and get that in position, and you're just going to tap it down in there, and it'll lock into place. And you'll take a screwdriver. You want to go around and hit it to make sure that it's all the way in there. Okay, that one's in. Now we're going to move around to the other side here. Pardon me. Same with it. We're going to use a screwdriver. Make sure those are seated properly. And now we're going to line up our paint marks. Get those lined up. Then we'll put a cap in on the back side or the front side. And we'll push that all the way in so it's seated as far in as it'll go. And then we're going to take our press and we're going to press it in. You don't want to bang on these with a hammer because you can upset the bearing, knock one out, and then it gets sideways in there. And then that will make your life no fun at that point. Okay, now we're going to press it on in. There we go. I went a little too far because it needs to stick out just a hair. So I'll fix that when I put the other cap in. I'll just press it right back out to the other side again. And then you're gonna get it all lined up. Again, grab your press. May have to position it where you can get to it. Get your press set up, take your gun, and go ahead and seat the cap the rest of the way in. That should be it. And we're going to take our retaining rings, snap those into place, and we should be good to go. Just a couple of taps, she goes right in. Again, take your screwdriver, make sure it's seated proper. Okay. Looks like we're good. Tap that one in. Now we're going to pull this out, reposition it so we can grease it up. I like to grease it outside of the vehicle in case there's any problems. You can catch those and see what you're dealing with. You'll need an 8mm. I just used a regular combination wrench here, and that it'll work. And just screw that in tight, and then we'll grease her up, and we'll get ready to install it. I apply grease until grease comes out of the ends of the caps. And now we should be good. Ready to put in. All right, coming back in to the truck. We're just going to take the assembly, slide it into the tube. We're going to put our plastic cap on, and you're going to want to go ahead and set it. It'll snap on that yoke. You want to go ahead and get it snapped on. You may have to use a little hammer or whatever you got that's available. You'll just kind of go around until you get that installed. You'll know when it's on there. You'll have to work yourself a way around it. And go ahead and slide her in there. Take it in as far as you can. If you've got a dead blow hammer, you can use it. Tap the end of that shaft there to try to drive it in a little bit. It's a good idea to put grease on the inside of that hub there. I did that, you just didn't see me on camera. And now we're going to install now I know we're set in there. We'll go ahead and we're going to put our nuts back on the back sides of the studs. Again, that's 21 millimeter. So make sure that your ABS is lined up to the top. You're going to just tap that back on. And we'll use the bolts and the nuts to pull it on tight. Go ahead and get those started. It's a little bit of a process. It takes a little bit of time to do, but it's a lot cheaper doing it yourself than taking it to a shop. Once I got all the nuts on, I'll go ahead and tighten those down with the impact. And contrary to popular belief, these bolts are hardened steel. They do not stretch. You do not need to torque them. You just take them in until they're tight. If you want to torque them, you can. It's not necessary. It's just as long as you got a decent impact, you should be okay. If you want to go around by hand and tighten them up the rest of the way, you can. Yeah, hardened bolts don't stretch. Okay, and we'll go around. I like to start on one corner and then flip it around and then hit the opposite bottom corner and finish tightening it up in that sequence. I'm doing both sides on this vehicle. I'm not going to show you both sides. One side will be just the same as the other. So if you're doing both sides, this will just be a mirror of the other side there. The only difference is the other side's axle will be significantly longer than this side, which makes it a little bit more difficult to work with in the U-joint installation process. Now I'm going around to my final tightening sequence. Making sure that it's all the way snug and tight. And I'm going to be putting in new ABS lines, so that one's getting pulled out. Now for the fun part, we're going back in with the snap ring and the new hub locker. That's the part number for the hub locker from Ford. I would suggest going OEM back with these parts. I would not put anything aftermarket on here at all. It will not last. I like to go around the new locker and put grease on the inside of it just to give it some lubrication. Right inside there. And around the outside there. Now she's greased up. Grease the O-ring. Slide it back in. And there's a little pin that you're going to need to line up with the holes here. So you'll have to kind of spin that thing around till you get it to where it decides it wants to sit. And then again, I use the T20 or T25. I can't remember which one it is, but it's one of those two. Use it to install the bolts in this little 3/8 inch impact that I use for that. All right, she's good. Now for the fun part, what you're going to have to do with the snap ring is you will need something to hold the top, because when you shove it in, it pushes the top out. So you'll need like a pry bar or something to push the top of the snap ring in while you're squeezing it. So you're going to need 3 hands here. I'll use the pry bar and rest it against my belly and just kind of shove it in. And it's going to take you a few times to get this, because it's, like I said, it is not easy to get that down on there, because you've got to really crank it. I believe I just said, screw it, I'm going to get the magnet. Now we're going to try this again. And again, y'all, if you would like and subscribe, that helps me bring you more content like this. Hit that notification bell for any new videos that come up that I put out. That way you'll be notified. I sure would appreciate that gesture. I ended up having to grab a 1/4 inch extension in order to finally get that ring in there. Looks good.